Good evening, Florida State. I'm student meteorologist Brittany Bowman.
And I'm student meteorologist Brantley Kite.
And welcome to FSU Weather. We definitely have a night full of some informational things we need to discuss.
Absolutely. We do have a big storm system on the way right now. A low pressure system is moving across the eastern part of the United States, and that's right ahead of a cold front. So we are going to see some pretty heavy rainfall tonight, maybe some gusty winds. We're already seeing some pretty heavy winds out there right now.
Yeah, if you were outside today, you definitely had to notice that wind. Really breezy, sustained about 20-25 miles per hour, and even gusting to over 40 before these storms have even arrived.
Yeah, the storms are still very far away, about 200 miles away is where the line is right now, and we did see a wind gust of about 41 miles per hour at both Tallahassee International Airport and at the Gadsden County Airport as well. So winds are very gusty out there, and we do have a wind advisory.
Yes, that wind advisory is in effect until tonight about 1 a.m. That's kind of when these storms are expected to end, but we haven't even started these storms yet. When you get into one of these strong storms, these winds could really pick up.
Yeah, and this is all ahead of a cold front too. So even after this wind advisory does end, and those storms do pass, we will still see very breezy conditions going into tomorrow. We could see gusty winds tomorrow, but it'll be out of this northwest, so we'll be bringing in that much cooler air, and it won't be coming off the Gulf.
Cooler and drier air. Right now today, I think it felt a little more humid than we're usually used to feeling. But
a lot warmer too.
For
sure.
Our
average for this time of year is around 64, and we get in the 70s today. But now we're going to take a look here at what we have coming up in this show at the wall with Harrison.
Thank you guys. And first off, we're going to start by taking a look at the national map here. I'm going to go to this side of the screen so we can get a better view of Tallahassee here, where you can see this squall line that should be bringing us the potential for some severe weather tonight, as Brantley and Brittany mentioned earlier in the show. Zooming in a little closer, you can really start to see the definition of the line where they are getting some gusty winds. No warnings right now, but those are expected to pick up as we get into the overnight hours. Just a quick look at the timing of this event for us. Around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, that line should push through. That would be positioned right there, and we should start to clear out as we get into the rest of the morning. As we start going through the rest of our day, those clouds begin to clear out, and we get a much clearer sky with those breezier conditions, and not a whole lot going on with the weather after that. Tonight, our low should be around 50 degrees. We will have those thunderstorms tonight, and we will be breezy with gusts up to 40 miles an hour. We already had some wind gusts up to 41 miles an hour at the airport here in Tallahassee. Thursday's forecast, our high will be 56 degrees, but I do expect that to be in the morning. We should be cooling off throughout the day, and we will still be breezy. And then for the rest of the show, we are going to mention that severe potential and those windy conditions. And then after the storm system does move through, we are going to see those sunny skies. But for now, we're going to go ahead and send things over to Sammy, where she's going to fill you in on your first local.
All right, thank you so much, Harrison. So we're looking at the sunset cam right now. It is pretty cloudy outside right now. Not seeing too much of that sun expected in that sunset because we are mostly cloudy right now. It is 68 degrees out. Those clouds are going to start to turn into rain pretty soon, though. Current conditions, 68 and sunny here, or cloudy here in Tallahassee. 73 over in Perry, near the coast of Apalachicola. 66, they're already starting to see a little bit of rain based on the current conditions. Looking at the dew points, that dew point is pretty close to our temperature that is at 60 degrees. In Perry, 58. So it is feeling a little bit warmer, more moist outside than what we have been experiencing with those colder temperatures. So this is the cold front that is starting to make its way through. Now that's going to bring lots of rain to us overnight and into the early morning hours before that rain finally starts to dissipate. So you can see it's starting to reach that panhandle right now, bringing some severe weather as well. So we'll start to see what comes. You could see starting to reach I-10 now. Around 6:05, it's starting to creep its way into the Tallahassee region. We are under a wind advisory right now. That goes into effect until 1 a.m. If you've been outside recently, you could start to feel that wind picking up. We have a gust even into 30 miles per hour. Now, it's coming from the southeast, 21 miles per hour for that wind speed here in Tallahassee. A little bit lower in St. Mark's, around 17. Regardless, it is pretty windy outside, and you can see these wind gusts, like I said, 34 miles per hour. Pretty windy outside right now. Looking into the rain to come, you can see a little bit of pink and a little bit of red. That's a lot of strong rain into the early morning hours. Expect maybe some lightning strikes in the early morning hours as well before it starts to make its way out into kind of a cloudier early morning before the sun finally starts to make its way through into our area. It is going to be quite breezy though throughout the most of the day tomorrow up until the afternoon hours, 6 p.m. as well. Severe outlook for today though, we are in that marginal risk area. So thunderstorms and even strong lightning and wind in our area. But for tonight in Tallahassee, strong thunderstorms, 50 degrees out for tonight before those temperatures start to dive into the 50s for tomorrow. Cloudy and sunny, so a little bit colder than what we experienced today. Looking at that marine forecast too, the seas are going to be rough tomorrow. It will be nice and sunny outside, but it's not going to be too warm. And we're going to stick in those 50s through the remainder of the week and going into a beautiful sunny weekend. Now I'm going to pass things over off to Colby.
Hey, thanks, Sammy. And we see those full suns there, and that's a nice sight, but those cooler temperatures. But across the southeast, they're starting to deal with the cooler temperatures back off to the north and the west. It's really a tale of two southeasts, really. You go back into portions of western Tennessee, northwestern Mississippi, even into Arkansas. Look at those 30s starting to creep in there. 33 there in Little Rock. They're starting to get a little rain there, and then Shreveport sitting at 39. Jackson there at 41. Places, though, ahead of that cold front that's what we're talking about across the southeast. They've had those southerly winds surging through, 61 in Montgomery, 68 there in Tallahassee. So really, the southeast is split into two sections. Dry air back behind that cold front, 24 the dew point there in Little Rock, 37 in Jackson. Still maintaining a lot of moisture, though, into portions of Alabama. New Orleans sitting at 55 there. So as we start to see that cold front progress, we'll see those dew point values drop as that dry air starts to come in. Very strong winds, though, out of the northwest there in Montgomery. That's at 23 miles per hour. And you really see where that frontal placement is there right across, starting to go into the Pensacola area, then back up toward Montgomery and then the far northwestern expanses of Georgia there. So we've had some southerly winds that are just screaming off the Gulf of Mexico, 21 mile per hour wind there in Tallahassee currently. Out west, things are really calm there, area of high pressure, but there in the southeast, really it's the weather maker that's in our area. We've got that cold front extending all the way down from Chicago down to the Ohio River Valley, Mississippi River Valley, and then there's that area of real broad precipitation starting to push back into the southeast. It'll continue making that progression off to the east. We're starting to have some showers now, starting to fill in. You notice the filling in from Tallahassee back off to the west. We've got Pensacola there, and then starting to head toward Destin. Those big line of storms there. We'll have to continue to monitor that as we go into the overnight hours. There it is right there, and then as we go into that weather alerts, so wind advisories there ahead of that cold front, flash flood warning there back into Mississippi. Severe outlook, we've got the slight risk there from portions of Destin and back toward Pensacola and even into Biloxi. A lot of rain. We'll have to really watch that as it continues, and there's that continuation as we go into the nighttime hours. About 1 a.m. is really when we're thinking about being impacted here in Tallahassee. Then that'll push off to the east, making for a really nice Thursday. Things will start to clear out, but it'll be much cooler across the area. And then really by Thursday night, you see the whole southeast looking good. Some high cloudiness as we go up to Atlanta, back toward Nashville, but things really will be cooling down back behind that cold front. Tonight, notice those cold temperatures, 26 Little Rock, 28 there in Shreveport, and then back out in front of that frontal boundary, we have still 70s down in Miami, so feeling really nice. And then for tomorrow, the change is on the way. We'll get that 56 high about midnight, and then much colder temperatures all across the southeast, 50s around. And then we'll still have some 70s though, creeping in South Florida there, Miami sitting at a nice 79 degrees, so really comfortable there. I'm going to throw things back to the desk with Harrison and Sammy.
All right, thank you so much, Colby. So a different type of storm, we're talking about blizzards. So in the Dakotas and Minnesota, they're actually under a blizzard warning as of right now.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different than most blizzards that you think of. Right now they're under like ground blizzard warnings, actually. So you want to start explaining what that means?
So they're actually not expected to get too much snow within overnight into Thursday morning. There's snow actually on the ground right now, and because the winds are so high, it's going to kick up all that snow on the ground, and it's going to make that blizzard-like effect like a whiteout. So you're not going to be able to see anything, and that's all due to the snow that's already on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And that causes problems for traveling just like a normal blizzard would, where you don't necessarily have feet of snow that are falling, but you do get that snow that's causing those conditions that make it hazardous for driving, like whiteout, obviously,
Yes.
and then windier conditions that makes it hard to stay on the road while you're driving.
Yeah, especially in the rural areas too, where snow plows can't necessarily get out there as fast and plow all those roads. Just stay clear of the roads. I know wind gusts as high as 50 to 60 miles per hour overnight and into the early morning hours. Doesn't change much. 40 to 50 miles per hour. So that strong wind mixing with that cold makes it -20 to -45 with the wind chill readings.
Yeah, and the other thing that can happen when you get winds that strong, no matter where you are, is power outages. So they might actually be able to have some power outages from that, which, as cold as it is, you really don't like to see.
Yeah, they're going to experience lots of cold for the next few hours, so bundle up and try to stay indoors. That's our advice to our viewers from the Dakotas and Minnesota. Now we're going to send things off to the wall.
Thanks, guys. Looking at our sunset cam off towards Doak Campbell Stadium, there's not much of a sunset. Clouds are dominating the sky ahead of this cold front, and we'll see those rain chances increase as we go throughout the night. But for now, temperatures are sitting into the mid-60s, 68 degrees right now with clouds and wind in the forecast, and that wind coming out of the south at 21 miles per hour. And we'll see later what those winds are actually gusting up to right now. But current conditions, we are warming up ahead of this front. So we actually got into the 70s today, and we're still sitting pretty warm at 68 degrees, 73 in Perry, and you can see the clouds are starting to increase the more west in our viewing area we go. Dew points are actually really high for this time of year. It's definitely feeling muggy outside, which is expected ahead of this front as this moisture is coming up from off the Gulf, and that's because the winds are coming out of the south and really breezy out there. 21 miles per hour in Tallahassee, 17 in Quincy, and 20 miles per hour in Apalachicola. And these winds are expected to keep ramping up, and look at these gusts into the 30s and even 40s. TLH recorded a wind gust of 41 miles per hour earlier, and this is all ahead of the front. And because of all these winds, we do have that wind advisory. Looking at the satellite and radar, that leading edge of some lighter to moderate showers are starting to approach the viewing area just west of Leon County. This is when the rain will start this evening and continue to worsen as we go into the night. The severe weather is back ahead just west of our area. Here's that wind advisory I was talking about. This is in effect until 1 a.m. tonight, where winds could be gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour, and under those severe thunderstorms, you could get gusts even higher than that. So make sure if you have any loose articles outside, bring them inside. Putting this into motion, you can see that rain begins around 11 p.m. around midnight, and this will last until about 3 a.m. and even back behind it, we do have the chance of some showers as we go into the late night and even the early morning. So if you're heading out early Thursday morning, keep that umbrella on you because some showers could still be lingering in the area. But look how quickly by late morning things really start to clear out, and we'll get rid of those clouds, but that wind will be sticking around. Breezy conditions are expected tomorrow as well. Going into tonight, 50 degrees in Tallahassee with those strong thunderstorms in the forecast, and those gusts up to 40 miles per hour with that sustained wind about 15 to 20. For Thursday forecast, your high will be 56, but the temperature will decrease as we go into the day. We'll have those clouds in the morning, but the sun will increase. And that temperature of 54 degrees at 8 a.m., you'll see it start to decrease as we go into the day. That's because that cold front is passing. Even though we're getting that sunshine, that cold front is really bringing in that colder air as we go throughout the day. For the marine forecast, not very ideal if you don't like the cold and you don't like the wind. We have that gale warning in effect, and those seas are expected to be rough. Here's your look ahead at the week. You can see sunshine will stick around after the severe weather tonight, and our rain chances won't come back until next week. For now, I'll send things over to Colby to take a look across the country.
Hey, thanks, Brittany. And we're going to look across the country, and it's really that cold front that we're going to be seeing here in the southeast. It's really stealing the show because as we go back west, 38 there in Denver, it's actually being dominated by high pressure. Another low as we go up into portions of Canada, bringing some snow there in Billings, up in Montana there. But notice it's really cold temperatures. Right now it's at 6 o'clock Eastern time, 21 in Minneapolis, 29 out in Billings, so much colder air on the horizon. That will be pushing our way. Well, we won't get that cold. Let's not talk 20s. Let's not talk crazy here across the southeast. We do have some winds out of the south, though, really giving us some high dew point values into portions of the southeast. 55 New Orleans, 60 there in Tallahassee. We've really felt those southerly winds all across the area today here in Tallahassee. Much drier conditions out west. 25 Denver, 19 there in Salt Lake City. Surface winds, and it really shows where that frontal boundary is all the way. Notice that low up there in Quebec, and that cold front extends all the way across the United States. Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, all the way back down and toward the Big Easy there. And the winds out in front of that cold front, they're actually out of the south, bringing us the moisture we're seeing here in Tallahassee, and then back behind those winds shift out of the northwest, bringing in that colder, drier air. Satellite and radar out west, all dry. A few showers. We have some upper, in the northern Rockies, we have a little bit of some snow trying to filter into the Rockies, but really, again, still in the show, that cold front. There's the snow changeover occurring into portions of Quebec. There's Toronto there, and then we transition into showers and thunderstorms there. All the way up into Ohio, we see the showers, and what's happening here is we've got the air, actually had a little bit of warm air, so a little bit of easterly winds coming in here into the portions of the Carolinas, and that's actually keeping things from getting too cold, those locations. That's why we don't have that changeover until we get up all the way up into Canada, and then that southerly wind bringing in those showers and storms for our area. Zooming in, though, there's a snow change over there, and then as we go into portions of northern New York there in the Adirondacks, there's that sleet there, and then changing back over to all rain as we head back down toward Ohio. We're dealing with a lot of upper level water vapor, so plenty to work with as far as moisture into portions of Canada and then back into the Ohio River Valley as well. And we're dealing with some, they were talking about on the desk there, Harrison's is saying there's that blizzard warning in portions of Minnesota there. So dealing with the blowing snow there. Flood watches we're having to watch across portions of Ohio, Pennsylvania. A lot of moisture right now in the atmosphere to work with. And with that cold front, not a good situation there as we're getting a lot of moisture across the southeast and eastern seaboard. That's pushing off. We'll have to watch out places like Atlanta, then back down even toward Tallahassee as we go into the next several hours. That line of storms will progress and make its way to the east. A lot of water vapor there too, portions of Pensacola, even into southern Alabama too. So a lot of moisture right now in the atmosphere to work with. Wind advisories out in front of that cold front. Those are ripping out of the south there. We got the flash flood warning portions of Alabama into Mississippi. Gale warnings there off the coast. A lot to talk about. Again, it's a really busy eastern seaboard with that cold front coming through, and we'll see that here over the next couple hours in Tallahassee. The storm look, slight risk there. That's just off to our west, so we'll have to watch that. We're in that marginal, really a confidence there that we could see some really high winds, possibility of isolated tornado. Much colder conditions, though, coming back into the central plains. Notice the 7 degrees there in Billings, and then for tomorrow, cold weather really dominating most of the country, and we'll even see some colder temperatures too there. 56 tomorrow's high in Tallahassee. And now I'm going to hand things off to Brantley. We're going to look a little bit at the Gulf Coast. It's really ramping up, isn't it, Brantley?
Yeah, thanks, Colby. We do have a flash flood warning in effect right now for parts of Alabama, and that is for Clark and Choctaw County. Right now, they do have an ongoing water rescue, actually a few water rescues going on, one for a home and then also one at a First Start school. That's in this red highlighted area stretching from Mississippi over into Alabama. About 12 students are trapped in a school right now, and they are working to get them out as the water is rising. About 5 feet of water is located inside of that school. Here's our severe weather risk right now for the Florida Panhandle. We are in that marginal risk for the Tallahassee area, so our threats are going to be mostly for the high winds, but an isolated tornado or two cannot be ruled out. Still on the lower end, though. Our satellite and radar does have some pretty heavy rainfall now entering the western Florida Panhandle near the Pensacola area. That should be here coming up in the next couple of hours. We do have a lot of shower activity ahead of those storms, though. Not a whole lot of lightning, though, right now. We do have some lightning offshore in the Gulf of Mexico, but once these storms move on shore, that lightning does seem to die off just a little bit. Zooming in a little bit closer, we do see those pockets of very heavy rainfall now moving along the I-10 corridor there. Those are going to be moving towards the east over over the next couple of hours, and we do see these storms getting a little bit more organized. So this line is getting pretty well organized as it moves toward us. This again ahead of a cold front. And all this heavy rain is going to be moving through just over the next 24 hours, so just a little bit more than an inch for some places, less than 2 inches for most of the Panhandle and the Big Bend region. Tallahassee could see about 1.5 inches of rain. Panama City a little bit more than 1.5 inches. So again, flooding is going to be on the lower end of concerns for us. The main threat is going to be damaging winds, and we could see an isolated tornado or two. Now we're going to take things over to Brittany with a look around Florida.
Looking around Florida, temperatures are starting to cool down towards the western part of the Panhandle, but as for the rest of Florida, things have really warmed up today. Even some 80s reported down towards the south, and we're still sitting in those upper 70s, 77 in Tampa, as well as 75 in the Keys, and we're starting to cool down. You could start to see that bluer color starting to make its way towards Florida. That's where the cooler temperatures will be. Florida is also very muggy. This whole state is neon green, indicating those really muggy conditions, those higher dew points out ahead of this cold front as the rain makes its way towards our area. Here's a look at the cold front we've been talking about. Zooming in, this line is really starting to set up towards the western portion of the Panhandle, and this will continue to make its way towards the southeast, eventually affecting South Florida. Zooming in, as Brantley was just saying, you can see the lightning starting to approach the coast, and it seems to die off as you go further inland, but lightning definitely still an issue, as well as gusty winds. These really gusty winds will be out ahead of that stronger portion of the rainfall, and things starting to make their way towards the Tallahassee area. And here's the storm outlook as the system approaches. The slight risk, the level 2 out of 5 for severe weather, including the western Panhandle. Tallahassee is included in that marginal, going all the way through Gainesville, Jacksonville, and even Tampa, so they will have to be on the lookout tonight. Putting it into motion, here's where the squall line is expected to be just before midnight, starting to approach Tallahassee, and will continue until the later evening hours of the night. As we go into about Thursday morning, 7 a.m., Tampa, Orlando, parts of Gainesville will be expecting some really heavy rain and the possibility of some severe weather. Going into later Thursday, things really start to clear out in North Florida, and just some leftover showers and just some heavy rain for South Florida expected. But by Thursday night into Friday morning, we're starting to see that Sunshine State start to poke out once again. For tonight, 39 degrees in Pensacola, and you can see this rain all starting to make its way towards the southern Florida. 66 degrees for that low in Tampa, as well as 67 in Orlando, and we'll start to keep those rain chances later in the night ahead of the cold front for South Florida. Going into tomorrow, you can start to see where that cold front is making its way. You'll see those greener colors and clearer skies as you head into the northwestern parts of Florida. But heading down south, you still see these oranges and yellows. That's where the temperatures are in the 70s, in the 80s, and where the cold front will still be lingering as we go into tomorrow. So we'll keep these rain chances for South Florida, but North Florida will be feeling more like winter. Key West sitting at 77 degrees tomorrow, as well as Miami at 79. For now, I'll pass things off to Harrison with a look at our local forecast.
Yep, so I'm going to take you guys through the last local forecast of the day. And we're a little bit warmer than normal today, about 20 degrees warmer in the morning for your low, only about 9 degrees warmer for our high this afternoon as those winds blew in. Wasn't too warm outside today. Actually, it was nice. I was able to get outside in some short sleeve shirts and some shorts. We're currently sitting at 68 degrees here with those cloudy skies and those windy conditions, and we do have that wind out of the south currently at 21 miles an hour, so it is still quite breezy out there. Right now, across the eastern United States, we do have this storm system that we've been talking about all show. That's going to bring us this rain tonight. Here we got that squall line that's going to be coming through, snow up north. That's the part of the system we really don't have to worry about here. Zooming in a little bit closer though, you're going to be able to see some of that more definition. The beginning of this storm, actually, the first bit of rain that's going to be reaching the Tallahassee area is starting to go ahead and come on in. That's pretty exciting, I guess, if you like the rain. But tonight is the main event. We're going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit more, and you're going to be able to see that definition of where this line is starting to make its way into our region. So if you're outside, go ahead and get your raincoat on. Be prepared for that, your umbrella, obviously. We have that wind advisory across the Tallahassee region for those gusty winds that are going to be blowing in here overnight and tomorrow. Right now we have that wind out of the southeast here at 21 miles an hour here in Tallahassee. A little bit less in Quincy, but in the upper teens and low 20s across most of the region. Those gusts are a bit higher here, 34 in Tallahassee, 37 in St. Mark's down by the coast, and 32 down here in Apalachicola. So it's just extremely breezy outside. That's been one of the main themes of the show today. Overnight tonight, that squall line does come through with those pinks and reds on the map, and that's going to be obviously where our potential for severe weather is going to come through. Then we start to clear out as we get into tomorrow, and then by tomorrow afternoon we should be pretty clear, still breezy. Those temperatures are going to be falling throughout the day, so that's where we're going to be tomorrow. Our low tonight is at 50 degrees with those strong thunderstorm potential, mostly out of the southwest with our winds at 5 to 15 miles an hour, but our gusts will be higher, potentially up to 40 miles an hour, as we already had one wind gust of 41 miles per hour at the airport. Our forecast for tomorrow will be a high of 56, and those temperatures will be falling throughout the day. We're going to start off with those clouds in the morning before the sun goes ahead and comes back out, and then we will keep those northwest winds in at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow, here you can actually see how that temperature really holds constant throughout most of the day and then really begins to fall as that sun goes down tomorrow evening. If you want to go out boating, I highly suggest you don't. We'll have seas of 6 to 9 feet and winds with 15 to 20 knots. And then for your 7-day forecast, we are going to keep things a lot cooler than they have been. Lower 30s for most of the mornings except for Tuesday morning, where we will have a low of 42. But now we're going to send things over to Sammy and Brantley at the desk, where they'll go ahead and close out the show.
All right, thanks, Harrison. We are going to keep watching this line of thunderstorms as we go through the evening tonight, so keep track with us on social media. If we need to, we will stream live again here on YouTube later on tonight. We will have our reports on Twitter and Facebook coming up. We also have an update on those water rescues in Alabama right now. The one at the school is still ongoing, and we also do have a new water rescue going on for people that are trapped in a home and also in the same county. So Clark County, Alabama, multiple people are trapped. They said about 6 people are trapped. Also, several cars have been submerged. So if you do cross flooded roadways, turn around, don't drown.
I mean, it's risen up to 4 to 5 feet right now. That's a lot of water, so be careful if you are in that county, because flooding is a huge risk right now.
Yeah,
and continuing into the overnight hours, especially with all the rain that's coming.
Yeah, especially as the sun sets and it's harder to see the water on those roads. Definitely be careful if you're out there driving. Now, the flash flooding is over there because the storms have been piling up in that area for quite some time. The cells there have been training throughout the day today, but they are moving a little faster as they get closer to our area. So flooding is on one of the lower end threats for us as the storm system does come through. But looking ahead, we do have some great weather ahead. We have nice sunny days, but it will be on the chilly side.
Yeah, I mean, those temperatures are in the 50s for the highs for the days, but if you look at those lows, they are nearing 20. Saturday morning, 30 degrees outside.
Yeah, so we're going to flirt with the freezing there as we go into the weekend. In the daytime, though, it will be in the 50s, so not too warm. Our average for this time of the year is around 64 degrees for a high, so that will be slightly below average as we go into the weekend. Now, you can follow us on Twitter, FSU Weather.
And like us on Facebook.com/FSU Weather for more updates.
You can also watch us on YouTube. You might be watching us there right now. We have all of our shows archived on there. And you can also send us pictures for Instagram as well. We love to share your pictures on air and online on all of our social media, so make sure you send them. But if you are taking pictures of the storm, please do so from a safe distance.
No matter where you are, too, we love to see all the different locations our viewers are from.
From FSU Weather, I'm student meteorologist Brantley Kike.
And I'm student meteorologist Sammy Squires.
Good night.